All right, everybody, my name is Spooki. Welcome back. We are talking about the latest updates to Brig. She has just gotten a hotfix update along with some other heroes. So we're going to go through that hotfix update, and then we're going to talk about how it's kind of changed some of the builds. And I'm going to give you the latest updated build on what I think is the best build right now for Brig. And that is the PAX build. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today as we play this quick play match, about the updates to her, what that means for your gameplay across Stadium, and give you a nice little build code to take home for the rest of the so you can use like today with the new updates. That's at least now. Again, these changes haven't been like massive. We did see some pretty significant items nerfed that Brig was having some weird bugs with, I'd say, things that I figured weren't intentional and that we're going to get patched out. So we were kind of just abusing that for the first little bit with Brig being out, but we're kind of settling into more of like a normal build here soon. So I'm going to be talking about that. Now, the PAX build does start out a little bit, I'd say pretty decent. I mean, with the additional healing that you can get, it's a very passive play style. If you've not watched my previous video on these packs, oh god, I'm down. It is not a very aggressive playstyle, as some people have been playing, especially with the like brawly type rally kind of builds that you've been seeing. So if you've not seen my PAX build, I do recommend going and seeing that, because I do break it down in detail about what that build consists of. Now, it does start with Pack Stacker, and that is what's going to increase our duration for our packs, as well as make it to where we can increase it with ability damage, that duration. So we're kind of just throwing out these packs here, going for little whip shots when we can. If we find an opportunity to get a shield bash safely, then we can go for it, but nothing too crazy. Now, the big change that happened with this build is that they fixed the bug that I talked about in the previous video with Amari's Antidote. Now, this normally gives you 15% increased weapon healing when you're below, the target's below 50% HP. Now, what was happening with it that we discovered when Brig was released was that that item was actually giving us 15% increased healing on all of her healing, like on everything, instead of just weapon healing is what the item is for. It was actually giving it on Inspire, it was giving it on our packs, it was giving it on our like our lifesteal. So it was working really great for Brig, really good value item. Now that actually did get replaced now in the build. And outside that, not really much has changed. We've replaced that with Cyber Venom. Cyber Venom does give us the 5% cooldown reduction. And, oh god, here, we got a lot coming out now. Stun that for a sec. Oh, good lord. All right, there we go. Yeah, I am trying to play and record this at the same time, so sometimes I do get a little wild out there. Oh, that's one. I'm going to make sure I live, though. Oh, that's a Reinhardt. Yee! So we replaced that with Cyber Venom. That's going to give us the 10% AP, 5% ability cooldown, but also obviously the 30% reduction on healing received from the targets that you hit with your ability damage. So it's a really good addition. Obviously, it was something I grabbed a lot anyways in that build, but now I think it's definitely a necessity. With that ability kind of not really viable at all anymore. Amari's Antidotes for Brig is definitely just not viable anymore, because all of her healing comes from ability damage. So now that that's been fixed, I would not grab that with Brig almost ever, really, on any build. There might be like a weird niche build you might grab it, like a vampire build or something. But outside that, I would not really grab Amari's Antidote anymore. So I've included an updated build code in the description. I'm also going to show it here on stream. Or not, sorry, not on stream. On this video here in a second. So you can, let's finish that up. So you can take that and have a new updated one. You can replace it with the other one. Make sure to label it as PAX version 1. This is not an official version 2 release, since there hasn't been any significant changes to it. So this is just still updated. Make sure to label that as PAX version 1, so you know if a new one comes out on my YouTube, you can know if you have the updated one or not. It's a really good way to keep track of it. And I definitely recommend, if you play Brig a lot, to have a nice solid amount of different builds available for you, because she is kind of one of those heroes that might require a little bit. I probably should have played more passively there. Looking in hindsight, that close to rally. Oh, we win anyways. Okay, totally intentional. It's something that you definitely want to make sure that you have, and we're always going to have an updated build code list on my Twitch. So anytime that you want to get like all the updated build codes, just go into my Twitch chat, type !Brig builds in my Twitch chat. That's going to give you all the up-to-date build codes for each of the different builds, like the meta builds that we have right now at any point. So I update those as we go onto my Twitch. So if you ever need that, just stop on my Twitch, twitch.tv/Spooki Show, and you can get in there and get the build codes. You can say what's up if you like hang out, but if you need to grab and go, just grab and go, get on out of there, so you can go and play some. Now this is the updated build that we didn't really get too much time to talk about earlier. Now this is literally as far as like AP stuff goes, it's mainly just ability power and cooldown reduction. Now I do recommend grabbing these in order from left to right as you go through, as you get more here we go, as you get more of the ability powers and survivability. You can update these as you go depending on how passive you need to play or how aggressive you can play, but I definitely recommend Mitzi's Medicine now as your first epic item. Iridescent Iris just to get more ability power and cooldown reduction, and then Lumerica probably at that point, just to give you a little bit survivability. You can replace that with the Ironclad once you get to that point. Since this is a passive build, you don't really need to play super aggressive, so you shouldn't need too much survivability. But if you do find that you are needing that, feel free to grab that later on if you like. I'm gonna grab haste paste here too. Give our friends some 10% move speed reduction or increase while they're affected by my packs. Now the reason I like this build so much, and the reason I do think that this going forward is still probably one of, if not the strongest build with Brig, is because it literally uses so much, it gives your team so much sustain, so much like speed, and while keeping you really safe as Brig. And Brig is like really fragile in this game right now, so like the only way to get really aggressive with her is to completely build into like that aggressive playstyle, which to me is losing out on a lot of especially healing for your team, because Brig's not really she's not really set up to be a huge damage dealer. So like playing her super aggressive can work, and I'm not gonna say it's not effective. I just don't think it's as efficient as playing her right now as a backline healer, kind of denying people as they push up. Now this does build later on into where you can get your whip shots from a farther distance, which does stack with your ability power as well, so you can do a little bit more damage as you play and proc your Inspire more often. But it's, in my opinion, much better to just get these packs out going as you play and kind of rotate and try to force them to pressure out this back line, especially when we're playing with an Honor right now. It's really important for us to make sure we play back there and help her out, so she can really pocket our tank and make it really easy for us to just sustain fights as we go in. So first round down. Now again, this is a quick play match, so this might go to round 3 or whatever, but we're going to talk about this as much as we can. Now there's some other updates in the patch update that I do want to talk about that aren't related to this build. Let's start with Brig specific ones. She obviously had the Amari's Antidote fix. Now she also had the Scavenge Steel. Now if you've played Brig at all, you definitely know what this item is. This gives you ult charge for using ability damage. Uh-oh. Big slam there. Let's see if we live this. We don't. That gives you 3% ultimate charge for using ability damage. Now this definitely was a bug before, because when I was running it, I was like, I don't think you're supposed to be able to get ult charge while you're using your ult, but you were. So like if you're actively using your ult, you were actually getting ult charge with your shield bashes while you were doing like rally and stuff. So it was kind of crazy. I figured that would get nerfed, which is kind of the reason why I'm saying the Pax build is probably definitely the best one now, just because that one relied a lot on being able to use your rally a lot. But it's not it's not a thing anymore. So they basically made it where you can only get that ult charge when you're not ulting, which is kind of what we expected it should be. So it should be back to normal. Now, not to say that that's a bad item anymore. It's probably still something you want to grab if you're doing a rally type build. That's still really good ult charge. So I wouldn't say it's not a no pick anymore. It's just not broken like it was before. So it's not really a must pick. But again, it's going to be a really good pick. Now, I'm not going to whip shot that rank because I don't know I'm close to my Ana. Now, you can see I am playing extremely passive here. I'm really just playing to support my team as they do this. I'm not wasting my shield bash to get in there, because I know if I shield bash and I don't kill any targets, I'm probably going to die, because that's my like 1 mobility. So let's cap this up real quick. Now, Scavenge Steel, so that means probably the Brawl Brig that you've been seeing, the crazy rally builds. They're probably more normal now. They're not going to be insane. Not to say that they're bad anymore. You can still run them probably. But it's not, in my opinion, it's not going to be worth it anymore if you're just going for wins. I honestly think a support style Brig is probably going to be your best right now, which is weird because, you know, you don't think about like just being like what we call a heal bot is like the best way to climb. And I don't, that's the thing, is I don't really think she's a heal bot. Now she does a lot of healing, but that doesn't make her a heal bot, because what her value is with this build is being able to consistently apply healing to all of your targets very quickly, singularly as they do it, and it works to stack with each other and heal them up very quickly. And then what you're doing is you're actually denying people from pressuring your other support. It's kind of like the it's kind of like what you would normally play Brig in comp. In this build, like in normal 5v5 is what she's really good at, and we're just kind of accentuating what she's good at with this build. And I'm telling you, it's one of the best builds I've run. Most consistently gets me W's, and I don't really feel like I have to try that much. And that's kind of like the hallmark of like a really good build, is that it inherently just built in gets a lot of value. So I'm really fine with using this as a build. Let's get a little more ability power here. So we got our Mitzi's medicine. We're going to be able to overheal our team now. You can see when we throw this pack, it'll give us some overhealth for about, what, 3 seconds before it disappears. Now, as you're throwing packs out, this is going to help out a lot. You're not really going to realize it, but it is for your team. So pushing out. Now, let's talk about the other changes that we saw in the patch notes. D.Va got a little bit of a nerf to her sustain with face tanking. And what I really like to see is that they... Thank God, hotfix the Farah mini barrage. That has been my biggest complaint this past week. It has been so insane, especially at the higher elo games. It's literally every game. Every game, there's Farah mini barrage, and it was driving me insane because it had too much going for it. It was good at everything. It had mobility, it had really good mobility, it had really good damage, it had really good survivability as long as you were doing damage. And it was insane. There was just really no counterplay to it. Now you guys can say that there was a counterplay to it, but when I tell you, man, especially in the high elo games, there was no counterplay to it. Like, people would be literally hidden like a ghost and would just pop out of anywhere. Is fair, no matter how well you tracked it, and then once they were close enough, there was no solution to it. Maybe if you run D.Va and just like constantly look at Farah and just DM her, but that's just not fun, you know, for the game. Really not intuitive gameplay. So that was like my big complaint this week, and I'm really excited that they nerfed it, which is exactly what I wanted them to nerf, was the lifesteal. It was giving her 50% lifesteal from her mini rockets, which is just an insane amount of ability lifesteal, which is the reason why she wasn't dying. I was completely fine with her being mobile, completely fine with her doing a lot of damage, but the big thing here was that she needed, if she was going to do that, she had to be a glass cannon. And what was the problem was she was doing a ton of damage, but then she also wasn't able to die. Everybody shooting her and she was still living, which was just really weird for gameplay style. It was just really weird. So I talked about it a lot last week, why I wanted them to change it. Unfortunately, either they listened to me or they just had, you know, we were sharing the same brain cell. The ability lifesteal got nerfed to 25%, which I think is a much more realistic number. I do think Barrage is still going to be a pretty solid pick for a build, but at least it's not going to feel as abusive, and you're not going to feel as helpless as you were before playing into Barrage Farah. So that was like I was really happy to see that. And a lot of the changes to Brig, I figured were coming, so not too worried about that. I'm going to rotate here from the Reinhardt. Ooh! Good little rotate here too. That was beautiful. But yeah, we're excited to see that. So a lot of the changes happening in Stadium. I'm glad that they did this hotfix. Extremely necessary, dude. I think Farah, like the mini barrage, was worse than Frey on release. Like it was bad. It was really bad. So I'm glad that they made some changes like that. I did forget one thing here that I do want to talk about, is that Brig, her righteous cleave actually got a pretty significant boost. That's able to heal at 10 meters now. So if you know how it works, anytime you do a whip shot or shield bash, the next instance of flail that impacts somebody does healing to your AoE. Now, the reason I don't have this in this build is because I don't really get that close in this build often to the enemy team. So I'm not going to be able to proc that righteous cleave very often. But if you are doing more of like a brawl type build, this is going to be really good if your team's stacked up, or even not. I mean, 10 meters is a pretty large radius. So it's 100% of that damage that you do with those abilities turns into AoE healing for that one cleave. And it's a pretty wide range now, so it's gonna be much easier to proc it. Oh my god, massive bomb, that's crazy. It's gonna be much easier to proc it, so yeah, try it out. We're probably gonna be messing around with some melee builds here soon. With the new Righteous Cleave and the AoE, especially with like Bender and like just some more like AoE procs, building up into the Spire a little bit. And we actually have a mini tank build too, which is, I think it will fit in perfectly with, which we have not posted yet. This is not like a any kind of whatever you want to call it. It's not a build that I posted yet, and it's not really, we've seen it a little bit, but no one's really posted a build about it yet, so I'm probably going to post that build very shortly this week. I'm going to post that mini tank build for you guys to play around with, which is, it is not the rally build. It is completely different from the rally build, actually, and how you play it. A lot of fun, though. It's actually a lot of fun. So I'll post that this week. Make sure you guys are subscribed with your notifications on here on YouTube, or, you know, make sure you're on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch because I'll be talking about it. I'll have the updated Brig build codes on my Twitch, twitch.tv/spooky show. Just type in !Brig builds in the chat and you'll get the updated list. Whatever you need, you can just pop on in. So like I said, yeah, go follow in there. Make sure you're up to date with all the builds as we do this. Hopefully you guys are enjoying Stadium. I was absolutely not enjoying Stadium this past week at all. It was actually really hard to play it with the amount of Farah abuse going on. So I'm so excited to see that it's at least nerf for the time being. We'll see how much it impacts it. Yeah, going forward, hope you guys are excited. I'm excited to play this week now that Farah is no longer reigning my ELO games. So we'll be live. You guys will see us live on Twitch. You can come check it out. You can come say hi, see what's going on with the builds, and ask any questions that you guys have about Stadium in general, or about Brig, May, Ana, Zen, any of the builds that I work on that I try to keep you guys up to date with. All right, so make sure you keep it spooky, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.